happen if all of the power in our country went out at the exact same time? Now, this is the question posed in Dennis Quaid's new documentary called Grid, Down, Power Up. And spoiler alert, things would not go that well. Take a look.
Virtually every study you'll see has an anarchistic component that leads to rioting. It is almost inevitable.
Imagine what will happen if there is no food, no power, and no money, and no transportation. Only people with guns and the boldness to go and take what they need to survive will live.
It could literally end civilization as we know it.
Cyber attack, an EMP, even a massive solar flare. They're all capable of exposing our power grid as America's Achilles heel.
All right, joining us now, Dennis Quaid, along with the producer of the film, David Tice, is with us. Thank you both. By the way,
Thanks for having us, John.
Dennis, I am a fan of yours. What's amazing about you,
Same here.
You could be the greatest father of the year in The Parent Trap and be the biggest jackass father in, I can only imagine. I mean, that shows great acting ability. Great to have you.
What a range.
That's a range. That's a lot of range. Okay, what interested you in this? We hear about Go ahead.
Yeah, well, there's something I'd read about and chilled me quite a few years ago. And then David Tice, who I've worked with before, came to me about something that concerned him, too, to make this documentary on our electrical grid, to make people aware of how vulnerable it is. We've only been, before 1920, we all lived in the dark, and I guess we were quite used to it. But if it were happened to a day like a solar flare event or an attack on our substations, them going down. We have blackouts, which we all know and have lived through, but it could take down an EMP event could take down the entire grid of the United States. And within 30 days, we'd be back in the Stone Age again.
Well, walk through where this documentary will take us. If it was an EMP event, electromagnetic pulse attack, which I think I'm hoping and praying and assuming that our government is preparing for, but that would knock out all the power in this country. That's a frightening scenario.
Yeah, it really is. There's three grids in this country, the Eastern, Western, and the Texas has its own grid. And they're quite vulnerable. It would not take much. There's a Carrington event with a solar flare, which in 1859 knocked out all of the telegraph lines, which was about the only kind of electrical thing we had back then in Europe and the United States. And, this means all the refrigeration would go out just like that, all of power stations. We wouldn't be able to have access to food or communication. And, from that, chaos is going to erupt. And it's something we're very vulnerable with. And there's an easy fix to it that we can do now.
It almost reminds me of the Book of Eli with Denzel Washington. That kind of scenario where it just, whoever's left it's just total anarchy. David, what got you interested in this project, and why was Dennis the perfect fit for you?
Well, I got interested in this project because I realized I was a NASA grandfather. When I was making the film, realized my grandkids were 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off. Houston, we have a problem. We have a problem if we don't fix this grid because my grandkids need to live a long life. And frankly, a solar flare, there's a 12% probability every decade that a significant solar flare could essentially take out our grid. So I've been worried about this for a long time. And as far as Dennis, we know everybody loves Dennis, from the Parent Trap to the Rookie. He is incredibly intelligent and, gifted with his knowledge of the system and capitalism. And he recognizes that we have a problem, but he believes in the American spirit where we can fix this.
Yeah, I'm like a mini prepper. I've got 2 huge generators, in part so I could broadcast if, God forbid, such a thing happens. I wonder even if they would work, and I have thousands of gallons of propane underground for that reason. But when you think about it, I don't think most people are prepared. Don't even have enough food, Dennis, to last a week. Never,
Right.
And what happens to the food supply? What happens to pretty much every aspect of our lives?
Every aspect of our lives that we just take for granted every day is we're going to have to deal with in another way, and it won't be good. And there's a way to fix this. This is something that our government could do. It's definitely a nonpartisan issue, that's for sure. To protect our substations, sort of like in a way that surge protectors, we have them on our televisions, we have them for our computers. We could install these in our substations that would protect us from if an event like this happened.
I'm glad both of you did this, because I do believe this is a real threat, and I think you're right. They need contingency plans, and if they don't have them up to date, ready to go at a moment's notice, this country could be vulnerable to attacks that we never dreamed of. Where can people see this documentary? Real quick, David.
Okay, so they can see the movie right now on salemnow.com. In about 2 or 3 weeks, it's going to be available on Amazon and also on YouTube.
Okay, thank you both. David, thank you. Dennis.